5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That was so corny. How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Old School, New School podcast. I am Will Charles Egan.
Chris Meekins.
And special guest, we have...
Jeremy Meekins. Also known as... Jeremy couldn't make it, so Jesse Meekins
Jesse's
is here.
here.
Jesse showed up.
Yeah, he was like, I want you...
It's going to be wild.
He said, Will, I want you to introduce Jesse. I'm like, I met him 3 minutes ago. Well, I know his first name, and that's it, which is obviously Jeremy. And they were all like,
well,
maybe don't
Jeremy couldn't make it, so that's a...
Yeah, so we have this guy.
Yeah.
So
his doppelganger.
Both of you look at the camera. If you can, like, look at them. If it isn't
I don't think
overtly
I look like
obvious.
him. I don't think I look
see
like him at all.
No, I'm way better looking.
I got bigger arms than he does.
Yeah.
I see.
Jesse's like 6'3".
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, 6'2"-ish and obviously 198 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeals, they say.
Wow. Holy cow. You really got it going for you. Well, I'm 6'3" of Twizzlers and Twigs. So, yeah. But I showed up and they're like, we're going to have a guest on. I'm like, oh, cool. Some guy. It's like, no. This is another Meekins. I was like, oh, now I'm outnumbered here on the podcast.
I like all my kids.
Well, that's good.
And he's one of them.
Yeah, it's good.
He gets preferential.
Now, you didn't say that he was your favorite.
Well,
I noticed that.
Well, that's good.
Well, my daughter's in the room, so we got to.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
I can never say that when there are other ones in the room.
That's true.
It's safe. Cheating. It's safe to say she's your favorite daughter, though, because obviously she is the favorite daughter.
Uh-huh.
But Jesse, okay, we'll get to it. So fine. So Jesse is a firefighter in the city of Memphis.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And we asked him to be on this podcast,
right?
Because,
well, he had, let's say, unique life experience.
Yeah.
Coming from young adulthood into like the first steps of quote unquote adulting. So that is what is the big frightening word for a lot of us youngins is there is this thing that I have to do where I suddenly have to be independent. I have to pay taxes. I have to get health insurance, and I've got to do all this on my own, and I have to have my life put together, right?
Right. And you got to go out and buy toilet paper.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, dude. Yeah. I just moved out like for the first time ever recently, and my roommate and I, like before we officially moved in the middle of the day, I just get this random text. It was in all caps. He just goes, dude, soap. What? Toilet paper. Paper towel. And I was like, oh no, dude, you're right. Like, these are things that are just there.
Yeah, the parents usually provide them just by default.
You just don't think about it. It's like, oh, I need to
go
grab some soap.
Don't we have people for that?
Yeah, you think that that's just like delivered to the house. Nah, you got to do that on your own now.
It reminds me of that scene in Step Brothers where they all move out and he walks out of Costco with a big thing of toilet paper. He's like, I won at adulting.
Yeah.
You know, like that's I bought toilet paper. Woohoo!
So that's like you take the first baby steps of like, okay, I bought this and my bank account hurts, but I think I got it down. And then you realize you've got to buy 30 other things that you forgot about.
Yeah. So crab legs and steaks isn't on the menu.
And I think that older people like myself forget that you go through that. They forget how much stress is in that.
Oh, such a long time ago. It was like a whole nother life.
And then in the meantime, you've got this college degree.
Right.
Which is proving to be absolutely worthless.
That's how it goes. No, yeah. That is, a buddy of mine was telling me, like, all of my friends, and then his parents were like, yeah, it just seems to be a thing. You get your degree, you never use it.
And now
that's normal.
Now you got to go through what everybody else has gone through.
Yeah. You eventually have to go to some sort of certificate school now, right? Go get a paramedic license or fire or real estate.
Yeah.
You know, everyone. How many college degrees do you know have a real estate license? And it's a great job, you know. And they go through marketing, and then they end up in real estate or a fire department or police or some sort of occupation that requires some kind of hands-on skill.
And nowadays, even police and fire, you have to have a bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, you know,
it helps.
Except for Memphis.
Well, smaller departments maybe, but bigger departments. You know, nationally, we're having a recruitment crisis, really. Nationally, okay. The fire service in general. So, you know, we're just hoping that folks come in and stay.
So did you grow up wanting to be a firefighter like your father?
Yeah. So, well, you want to start off there?
Yeah, let's start off
start
on
off
how
there.
you wanted to be like your dad.
It's literally the elementary school. I want to be like Dad. What's Dad? Firefighter. Sure.
Well, right. So we grew up climbing. Dad was you're retired from Brook Park.
Right.
Okay, so you retired from the fire department, and then we grew up. While growing up, we were going up to the fire station all the time, climbing all over the fire trucks and stuff. And it didn't really stick at first. And then I remember Dad was talking to our oldest brother Chris about what he wants to do. Do you want to go to college? Do you want to go do this? Do you want to do that? And you were making a case to him about, hey, look, if you can't do college, fire department's a great route.
Right.
And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, sounds like a really good idea. And I think I was like in 9th or 10th grade when you were having this conversation with him. And he was probably well off into college by then. But I remember this conversation, and it stuck out to me. I was like, that's what I'm going to do.
Wow.
And that from that point forward, this was like the devil's in the details. From that point forward, I was like, well, I'm not going to college.
Right. Yeah.
So I really don't have to do well in high school. So I was like, well, now I'm on easy street.
I'm just going from his mom.
I'm learning that from mom.
Not from Dad?
Not from Dad. So C's get degrees, as they say. And so that was my.
I heard that a lot.
That was my moving forward motto.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I basically decided to go in that path. So
I'm glad I didn't know that when this was going on.
You're learning all this in hindsight.
So you tried fire school once, and what happened?
okay, so when I graduated high school, I went and got my EMT basic that summer, and then I went to Fire Academy, which was Cuyahoga Community College, an excellent fire program. I mean, very professional. You're only allowed to fail 2 tests, and you have a test every day for 6 weeks on a new chapter. So when you show up to school the first day, read this chapter. Tomorrow morning, you're having a quiz, and you got to get 70% or better.
Oh, no pressure.
No pressure there.
Not on stuff, and you don't even know what the hell they're talking
Yeah,
about.
Right,
what are you talking about? Like an axe? I think I've seen one before. Yeah.
If you don't know that, well, I think there's another issue.
Yeah. Well, you'd be surprised. So, so the next day you show up and you take this test, and they grade it right there. And you either pass or fail right then and there. They do the little Scantron if you're old enough to remember those.
Oh yeah.
And they say, "Cool, you passed. Go sit down." There's and inevitably there's a person who shows up and they fail.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that was your one. That was your one fail. Next test you fail, you're out. It doesn't matter if it's the last day. If you fail that next test, that's it. You're out. So this happened to me. Halfway through, I failed a test because I just didn't study enough. Obviously.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. Turns out the answers are in the book. And they give you the answers. They're in the book.
Read it. You got to read the book.
And then
with that?
2 weeks later, I failed another test, and right there at 8:00 in the morning, taking this test, they're like, "All right, go down the hall, talk to the supervisor who's in charge, and you are done."
I was so pissed.
I was.
I would imagine you're freaking ready to throw him out of the house.
How do you fail?
Fire school.
It's so easy. What's wrong with you?
Don't you know C's get degrees?
Yeah. So
dude.
so not D's and F's, and I was getting D's and F's.
Yeah, it's not working out.
So it wasn't working.
Not working out.
So I got the boot, and it's like not unheard of, but it is kind of like a morale, a
Morale crusher.
yeah. You're like 18 years old.
Yes.
Hey, big guy, you're not up to it. Go home, kind of thing, and you're like,
And you're trying to figure out your life.
yeah,
You're in the middle of
of the biggest transition that you've ever experienced before, and now you get sucker punched by life.
yeah. You have
or
a
by
failure.
a test.
Or by a test.
Yeah, an
Yes.
easy chapter test on
Yeah.
something silly, So, so I went home and I think you guys were pretty mad. I was really like, I don't even know what to do now. And we talked about it. You're like, well, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And and then in that moment, I was like, you know what? Let's just double down. I'm going to paramedic school. Let's just do that. And paramedic school is 10 times harder than fire school.
I got this.
I failed at this. I might as well go ahead and try that.
Might as well
got this.
fail at that too. Let's just make it a season of life, And
See what happens.
so I doubled down, right? And I just said, let's just go to paramedic school.
Okay.
And that was the same format too. You drop below 80%, for the entire year that you're in paramedic school, and you get the boot.
Dang.
So in that time frame, I had to make an adjustment, and I think maybe you and I had a series of conversations, productive or not. I don't know.
I gotta kick your ass.
The conversation's being a beating.
Yeah, exactly. I will.
I'm
kick
pretty
your
sure
butt.
I can't beat him when he was 18.
No, I was pretty. I
No.
was about the same size. And,
Holy cow.
Yeah, I was pretty big.
Big 18-year-old.
Yeah, it was weird.
If you're just listening, he's like 6'2",
230.
Yeah, on
Holy,
on a good day.
On a good
beef
day.
steak over here.
I know.
Not bad.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, I had a friend, Andrew Hurst, super intelligent, and super smart.
Homeschooled. Their whole family was brilliant. They had like
The
25
homeschoolers
kids.
were brilliant. 25 kids.
They had
That's a lot, but I think they had something at that time, 7 or 8.
no 14.
Well, now they have 14.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they had a lot of kids, and so they had this like hotel of a house.
Yep.
With
And they homeschooled.
and they homeschooled.
How do you do that? There
So-
must be a classroom.
They're really smart people.
They have like 3 doctors in their family, and the one they're just brilliant people.
Yeah.
So Andrew Hurst, he's a smart guy, one of my best friends growing up.
Right.
And I was sorry, I'm drinking a lot of coffee and fizzy water.
Fire department coming up.
Yep.
Yeah, at least it came out this end.
Just be comfortable. Yeah. Make yourself like home.
I'm sorry.
So I was like, Andrew, I got to get this. I got to figure this out, and I barely squeaked by EMT basic school,
Right.
And I failed fire school, and now I'm going to paramedic school, which is infinitely harder.
Yep.
So I'm like, Andrew, you got to help me out, man. And he basically taught me how to study, and how to sit down and make the adjustment, how to do it, whatever. So I found a rhythm that worked for me, and it got me through paramedic school. I passed the first time,
Dude, nice.
and I passed the National Registry, which is pretty hard, and I passed that the first time, and I did it with pretty good numbers too.
Wow.
And so I just found a rhythm, and I made the adjustment, and then I just kept showing up.
So
Yeah.
so stop here. So
Yeah.
so part of being a youth, an adult youth,
Right.
is figuring out how do I make the adjustments. I mean, you're going through it right now.
Yeah.
Like, what is the adjustment that I need to make? Jesse just
Yes.
shared with his. What's the adjustment that you had to make?
Yeah, so when you get to the point where for me, I'm in an interesting spot because when I was in college, I didn't move out. I went to a branch campus of a school that was like a 35-minute drive. I was like, I don't need to do student housing. I can just stay put. So I lived at home with my parents while I went to college, and then I got my degree, and then I moved out. So I did things a little backward, but still, you're at the point where you're finished with your traditional schooling, and now that you're moving out, you're faced with a lot of the initial stressors of like, oh crap, what do I do? Just like in general, what do I do? Am I going to be able to afford rent and then soap and towels and paper towels? And you've got all these things that you think about. And so the move wasn't bad. I mean, it was like I could fit everything in my car, the minimalist lifestyle. I needed
choice.
Yeah, right. I needed a truck once for like a dresser and my mattress. That was it. I don't live with like 3,000 pairs of shoes. That's not me. But
He has a lot of combs, so.
I do have a lot. Yeah,
Well,
it's all of the
all hair
stuff
product.
is hair product.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maintenance.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
maintenance.
yeah, that's my baseline. It's like 3,000 products for my hair. Come on, guys, get with the program. But the move wasn't bad. It was just the initial like, hey, now I have to be on my own. But and to kind of build off of your story, it absolutely helps to have people around you.
Yeah.
People that you can trust, the people that are going to build you up. The old proverb that everybody uses. I mean, even non-Christians use it. You hear the iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right.
That's exactly what Andrew did.
Yeah.
I mean, and so
Yes.
they would sit at
Arabica at the time, not even Starbucks.
Arabica.
What is that?
Arabica was a coffee shop before
cow.
Starbucks.
Before
in
Stocks
Cleveland.
even exactly.
Yeah. Iron sharpens iron. It is really the people around you that
Mm-hmm.
that boost you up and carry you along. Really, so
Yeah.
there's a lot of gratitude that comes along with.
Yes.
that,
And the four of you guys, they had four that they hung out with, and all four of them. It's interesting. I'll skip a little bit, but are all super successful.
Yeah.
But at the time, they were just being like
We're just kids.
Yes.
Yeah. Just kids. We're just kids.
mediocre Christians would be even.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure I was pretty awesome.
I was pretty on fire.
Pretty on fire, bro.
Come on, bro.
Yeah, don't
Wait a
make me
minute.
jump over
I
this
know
table,
some other
Dad.
stories. I know some.
Yeah.
I know some of these stories. So anyway, so anyway, so you're in this. You finish up paramedic school, and then you go back to fire school.
Yeah, so I had to go back. It is funny now we're talking about this out loud. I had to go back and face that defeat.
Face the giant.
Yeah. And,
Because you're not getting on the fire department without fire school anymore.
if you want to do this, you gotta.
Oh, yeah.
You gotta go back. I kind of went back with a badge of honor because
Right.
when you're in that industry, in that world, when you walk around with the paramedic license in your pocket, you're big something up in Cleveland.
In that world.
In that world.
Yeah.
Back then. Now, now and I look back, I go, man, what an amateur.
Poser.
Poser.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't even know how to do anything. So I went back to fire school and I eventually that next time won. And actually the first day, one of the instructors, he's a firefighter at Parma Heights, I think, Dave Searle, super cool dude. For some reason, always kind of took me under his wing.
Nice.
He's like, hey, first day, hey, he walks in, hey, Meekins, stand up come up front in front of the whole class.
Great.
First day.
And there's a classroom of 30 or 40
And you're like
hot
what?
shots.
You're like 19 years old.
No, now I'm 19, going on 20, I think. And he's like, hey, Mika's, get up here and stand up in front of this class. I'm like, oh my God. He's about to make fun of me. He's going to publicly
This
berate me.
is not what you want to be when you're.
Yeah. First day.
First day, and so I'm set up from all these hot shots. I'm a 19-year-old kid, and there's 4-year-old men in there who work, who've gotten hired at other departments, and they're like, go do this.
Okay.
So he's like, you want to talk about, I guess he said, determination or tenacity. This is what it looks like. He failed once, went to paramedic school, got it done, and now he's back.
The manliest.
Yeah, he had this deep, like,
manliest,
yeah. And
yes.
I'm like, oh my God,
That's right.
I'm so embarrassed in front of the class.
I'm so embarrassed. Keep on going.
Okay,
Yeah.
say more.
Will and I know how to be embarrassed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Please stop.
Don't break your arm, pat me on the back.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was back when I went back to
Nice.
fire school. So it was cool, having that validation, and that encouragement, and that stuck with me for years.
Yeah.
Still, obviously, I'm 20 years later. I'm like, man,
Yes.
that's stuck. What you say to people can have a
That's-
major impact.
That's good. That is the tried by fire. I mean, you hear it again. Even non-Christians use it. There's the analogy of the furnace, and then there's even what does galvanized mean? I mean, you got the shirt on right now.
That's my men's ministry I do on Saturday morning.
What does the word mean though?
Galvanized? It's hardened. It's an outside like a galvanized nail.
Right.
It's stronger.
Yes. Yeah. So. Well, maybe not the same thing, but like when you when you melt down metal. See, I'm an idiot. I thought I was going somewhere with the analogy. I guess I was wrong. But when you melt down metals and then all of the impurities melt to the top and you can scrape those off, that's not galvanizing. That's something else.
Yes.
But that's
Schmelting or something.
yes, melting. That's what it is. Duh. But that is the tried by fire that a lot of people use the analogy that's in scripture of you melt down gold and you scrape off the impurities, you get pure gold. And the only way to do that is a trial by something that's hot, something that's high pressure, something that hurts. And in the moment, you want nothing to do with that scenario and you do not want to be there.
Yeah.
But you have to remain in that because that is what's molding you into the man or woman that you're going to be. And so I see what you had when you failed out of fire school. You succeeded. You got the badge of honor that was paramedic school, but in reality, you were still kind of amateur.
Oh, no, totally. Oh,
Poser.
Oh my God.
But
It's terrible.
You got a little glimmer of
Yeah.
the end reward where you got recognized there, and
Yeah.
you'll have those moments as you walk through the young adulthood of like, you're doing the good thing. Keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
Keep it up, bro.
Yeah, and I say this to everybody that I talk to about career path stuff, and I go, the hardest part is continuing to show up every day for years on end. That is the hardest part. The hardest part is you got to show up every day and you got to do your best. And doing the best is still negotiable, but the showing up every day is the bare minimum. You got to show up.
And if there's
That's-
his firefighter friends from when he first was there, they would be like,
Yeah,
This
this is the best. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm
buddy.
pretty sure that.
Yeah, so let's do mediocre. But if you show up over a long period of time,
Yes.
you become better at your job, and you will gain traction, you know?
And
Yes.
it's all about maturity. I remember a guy told me one time, he's like, you should be like this. And I'm like, you're like 50 years old.
Yeah.
You've been sober for 25 years. I've been sober for 15 minutes, and I'm 21 years old. I'm not going to think like you.
Right.
Right.
And so, but I want to go back and then we'll go on. It was like words of life. It's how important we hear it at church all the time. You know, words matter. And here's a guy that almost like, I don't want to say embarrassed you, but then also built you up.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, I gotta take this serious.
Yeah.
He just challenged me.
Yeah, he really ramped it up.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks for putting that target on my back.
Pulled that one out of me. Jeez.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and so, but words of life matter because when someone believes you, and it happened to me when I was in high school, a certain person, I've mentioned it before, built into me or believed in me,
Yeah.
and it changed pretty much everything.
Yeah. So you have those to build off of the last point to kind of give this like some sort of a theme or whatever, I guess. Kind of organize. So you have the people around
Follow
you.
the notes.
Yeah.
Right here.
Where is your note paper, dude? You always have a pad in front of you.
Well, I got this guy. I know. I'm pretty
Yeah.
much know.
Yeah,
the whole
he's your
story.
wealth of knowledge that you pull from, right?
Got a cast iron right up here.
Right. So you have the people around you that are of the same age, of the same or slightly different life experience that walk along with you, and then you have the mentor figure. So this person that has experienced everything that you've already experienced, the person that can give you wisdom, that can call you out, call you up. That's something that I always love about the program is when you get a sponsor. A lot of the times it's somebody older, but it will be somebody that's sort of tailored to you because they won't put you with somebody like a man and a woman probably won't get put together in the program very often.
No.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They'll put you with somebody that's had they won't be completely out of the age range, but they will be obviously a little bit older most of the time, wiser, and they will have similar life experiences. Yeah. And so that really helps to connect the sponsor with the sponsee. And I mean, even with, the Christian realm or just the mentor-mentee realm, you find somebody that's had similar life experiences like you hear in careers, all of the young 20-something-year-olds that want to be millionaires by the time they're 25. They're like, you got to find a real estate mentor. You got to find somebody that's done this. You need a mentor. And it's like, obviously, it's a little bit bro science.
Yeah.
But it does come from a genuine place of wisdom. Where it's like, yeah, you do want the person that's experienced it already to call you up and call you out.
And you never really ran into that guy again after fire school for the most part, right?
Well, I mean, once or twice in just random passing. I mean, it was,
So you finished fire school. I mean, because we're way off someplace in the
bro science. I heard bro science.
Yeah.
I just tuned in at that.
That's me, dude.
Yeah, you want to talk bro stuff? Yeah, bro.
All day, dude. I lift.
You want to go pick up that heavy stuff over there?
Yes.
So after fire school,
Yeah, you got the call. You got the call
for
Memphis.
no. So I went and got my first job.
That's right.
At a little ambulance company called Life Care, and I think they expanded nationally now. I think I'm not
Holla.
sure. So good for them, But that's the first job to take me. And we did 911 service for Lorain and Elyria, Ohio.
Which is part of it's Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, so I learned some of the ropes there, and then you find out really quickly how much you don't know. You're an expert at stuff that you don't know anything about.
I read this in a book.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yes.
Put this down their throat.
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, and that's if you're even good at it, So there's a learning curve with everything. And so it showed up day one, and I was basically a moron, a rookie. I just didn't know anything.
Yep.
Don't know how to talk to adults. I was 19 or 20 years old. I'm like, I never talked to a real adult before.
Yeah. So you're younger than me when you started.
Yeah, I was 21, I think, when I got the job. So,
wow, yeah.
So there's a bit of time I had to let my driving record clear up so they would hire me. So they don't hire you if you got too many driving points.
A government job probably would want. Yeah.
Well, how's your driving record? Not good.
About that.
Yeah, about that. Come back next year.
Dude, yeah.
So that's what happened to me. I had to take a year, basically, before I got the job over there. And I learned how to do 911 work, and I learned the ropes, and being that young, you're not ready, or you see a lot of things that you never knew existed.
Yeah.
In
Oh, yeah.
your
Being exposed,
you start getting exposed to reality. You know, in the way the world works.
which is what's going on with you.
Yeah. Well, maybe not to the extent of seeing bodies,
Right.
but
Yeah,
you know.
and it's part of the gig, and then you wake up one day and you go, I don't think I want to do this anymore.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and,
Oh, yeah.
and that's the part where my dad, mentor, father, and my family and support structure is like, well, hey, you know what? Give it a year.
Yeah.
See if you lean into it a little bit more.
Right.
Just keep showing up.
kind of like being sober. Just
Yes.
Well, let's once you think about that
One more
tomorrow.
day.
Today,
Yeah.
let's finish up today.
Just make sure you show up to work tomorrow. Keep showing up.
So anyway, so Memphis calls.
So I Bridge. I quit there and we got a part-time fire department job, and then I went to Kent State for a brief hot minute.
Nice.
Yeah, where C's
No,
get degrees. but
he didn't say anything about attending classes.
Yeah, I
He
dropped more
lived-
classes than I took.
Yeah.
He lived on Kent State.
Yeah. He was
property.
there. Didn't do a whole lot
Yeah.
there.
with his brother. Shared an apartment
Yep.
with his brother and his sister across the street.
That was wild times.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
It was wild times.
Well, yeah.
Best
So,
years of my
okay,
life.
we're-
Okay.
we're talking about spiritual things. Now.
Yeah, best years of my life. Okay, so I started applying to departments around the country. You know, Memphis called, say, hey, you want a job? And so I said, yeah, let's give it a shot.
Sure.
You know, and you said, hey, you know, if you don't like it, you can
always
always come
quit.
back. You know.
Yeah.
So in 2008, I gave it a shot and moved down
Nice.
and then just kept showing up there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and doing the job
But it's a whole new level of intensity. down
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It's Memphis is tough.
yeah, it's a different city. You know,
Yeah.
Oh,
it's got like most major cities. It's got problems. You know, and so when you're down there working, it's you know, you see a lot of stuff. You go to a lot of fires. You go to a lot
Right.
of calls. You do
Yeah.
a lot of cool
He
things.
did
though.
more fire calls in 2 years than I did in my whole career
Holy cow. Really?
down in Memphis.
It's pretty
Oh,
busy. Yeah.
Wow.
And
And
then
they're hiring,
And
by the
you were on the what do they call it, the unit?
Yeah, they call it unit, which is equivalent
Rescue
to an
squad.
ambulance rescue squad.
Okay.
And you were on that 12 hours, and then on the fire truck 12 hours because they were so busy.
Wow.
You'd go out.
Yeah, you go do potentially 20 runs a day. You know.
Holy cow.
So you're rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
It's you know it's fun. It's a good job. You know.
Right.
And so there was some tough times in there too, like where you really saw some things that really threw you back,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so being exposed to that kind of intensity, good stress and bad stress. You know, stress can,
Like dead people.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
dead people.
Like dead.
yeah. You see some things that you know you don't necessarily. Your brain's not really wired to see.
Right,
You know,
yes.
so and that's a part of the gig, though. You know, and,
Yeah.
and you try to deal with it, and you brush it off to the side, and you go,
Right.
I'm gonna go
Process that later.
We'll go back to the station, eat spaghetti.
yeah, spaghetti chili, yeah.
Yes.
Just
chili.
throw a M80 into the chili bowl. You told me that one story. Didn't
they-
the guy do that?
They, yeah, the pranksters. They put an M80 on a chili bowl and slid it across the kitchen table and chili everywhere.
With how many guys sitting
Like
around?
8 or 10 or something. It's so crazy. So
Don't do this at home.
don't do that.
No.
Yeah. So yeah, no, and yeah, there's a mental health part of it too that you have to take into consideration. Which is,
Yeah.
if you don't, it's going to
Sure.
have negative impacts. So
Yeah.
So then, but you had to figure that out. I mean,
Yeah.
how to release that and how to.
Sure.
So then all of a sudden lieutenant tests come up. So, and so Jesse is for the most part playful,
yeah. Oh yeah.
prankster,
Oh yeah. Pretty lighthearted.
pushing on the envelope of authority.
Oh totally.
Oh yeah.
Oh
As
yeah.
it should.
Yeah, yeah, right. 'Cause I don't think my super feels that way. Well, yeah, it's super playful, trying to make the best of it.
Yeah,
you know, and have a good time, right?
Sure.
Because what else is there at the end of the
Yeah,
day?
exactly.
You know, if you're not enjoying yourself, then what are you
doing?
Yeah, what are you
If you're
doing?
not throwing pranks at the fire department, then why would you even go there?
Yeah,
Right.
If I wanted to,
Sit and work.
yeah, I'd go get a different
Boring.
job.
We,
Yeah,
before you came, we were like, okay, there's some things that we can't say,
Yeah.
so that he will be able to maintain his employment there.
yeah.
All true.
So
Tread carefully.
So it was probably an act of God, you know, or you could call it whatever you want, luck or whatever. But I stayed on, met my wife there in Memphis, and I stayed. And I just stuck it out, and then next thing you know, they're offering a promotional test, and I made the cutoff by 2 days.
Nice.
So I had enough time to take the test by 2 days, which is a bit
Because you have
lucky.
to have you have to be on the department for 8 years.
8 years.
before you can
Oh,
take it.
wow. Okay, cool.
So he had 8 years and 2 days.
8 years and 2
Holy
days
cow.
before the cutoff. So so I was like, well, that's pretty weird. That's pretty lucky.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, is maybe how many abstract layers do you have to start saying that maybe this is a
Right.
God?
God's got a bigger
timing.
path.
God might be helping me out here.
Yes.
So took the test, got promoted first round, or first attempt.
And
at
you were
the test.
pretty young.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I only had by the time I got promoted, I only had 10 years on, and I was 33 years old. So they're like, that guy's too young. He's not even mixed on his
He's never,
seniority.
never taken this job serious, and
He's-
now he's going to be the.
He jokes too much.
Right, yeah.
So it's so
Like a
funny.
prankster.
So it's so funny. And then
So let me stop.
Okay.
So for you listening, there's a place where you can be yourself.
Yes.
That, if you lose who you are,
Yeah.
it's a big problem.
Yeah.
Yet you still have to make adjustments
oh yeah.
to saying, "Oh, I want to be a lieutenant." Now, in the fire department, there's a firefighter. Lieutenant's a pretty big deal,
Yeah.
and then the next is a chief, and that's a pretty in that world. It's a pretty big deal. I mean, because you're dealing with people's lives,
Yeah.
and the lives of firefighters. You guys just lost 2 guys, just got dead.
Yeah. Well,
recently.
we had one line of duty death last month, or excuse me, 3 months ago.
Wow.
He died in the.
And the other guy, did he end up dying?
No one else died in that fire, but we had a fatality. I want to say, I have to get the exact date, but yeah, very recently, and within the last 6 months.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all serious. I mean, it's like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm the lieutenant. You're going to do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
So all that, now all of a sudden you got this guy that's like,
Yeah.
let's go to Hooters.
Yeah. So
Come on, guys.
definitely, it definitely rubs some people the wrong way. How about that? And,
Yeah.
but that's just how I am, and
and you passed the test.
yeah, and that's
Nice.
part of it. You make the grade, so it is what it is.
And how did you have to change as a person once you took that next step as a young person
Yeah.
with success? Because as a young Christians, sometimes they have early success
Yes, absolutely.
because
There's nothing wrong with
you
that.
know, whatever.
Yeah. So I definitely had to grow up a bit, more
Yes.
grow up. A few of my friends who worked with me at the time, they're like, it was really fun watching you mature as a person.
Yeah.
Go from, hey, I don't care to, I need to start caring about certain
Right.
things, and
Yeah.
it made me, it made me realize how crappy I was as an employee too. and like,
Yeah.
oh wow, I'm looking back and
So you had to start taking ownership of your immaturity.
Yeah.
So
And-
as a young person watching this, it's like you kind of have to take ownership of. No, they don't want a 21-year-old
Right.
in the fire station. We're dealing with somebody's dad got dead,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
their family's standing here. You can't be
you need to
jerk.
be a little
Yeah.
bit more mature. Yeah.
See, I didn't even swear there. I said jerk.
Not bad. He's learning.
Yeah. So you just have to make the adjustment and just say, hey, I need to put on my big boy pants today and show up and be the guy, and so that takes time and
Right.
and it takes years, I think,
Oh, yeah.
and that's why they put the cap on the can this person
The age grade.
yeah the number of years in the department. So
Right.
like, can this person show up at least for 8 years without getting terminated? Okay, that's a good start for a promotion.
He still works here 8 years later.
Yeah.
8
The
years
bar
later.
is a little low.
So if that person could do that, we'll
Yeah.
start talking.
Yes.
And so it rings back to that whole entire idea. The hardest part is showing up, for extended years,
Yeah.
and being a part of the process.
Yeah.
In the get rich bro science world,
Yes.
that answer is not the right answer.
No, yeah.
No.
Right?
Everybody wants to be rich yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think the big problem, and that what we could learn from your life testimony, is with young people, they look up to the rare few cases where it can be the influencer types, like the gym bros that are ginormous, or the really successful influencers that have a makeup brand and then she's making 6 figures at 22 years old. And I have this saying for things like that where my friends will look at, I don't know if you guys know who Sam Sulek is, but he is this young 20-something-year-old bodybuilder powerlifter guy, and he looks like the Incredible Hulk. He's so big, and it's like, it's to the point where he's almost too big. Like he has a hard time catching his breath. He doesn't do any cardio, and he's like this hulking mass that has no endurance, and he pumps himself full of chemicals.
Quit talking about me.
Yeah. It's this guy, actually.
Stop it.
Chris Meekins.
Please.
Stop it.
And so everybody looks up to those really, really like top 1% of the 1% examples of those kids that got rich quick. And so I look at my friends that are always looking up to the big influencer types that are rich in their 20s. And I tell them, I say, for all intents and purposes, that person is not real.
Right.
Yeah, right.
That person does not exist.
Right.
There is no such thing. Again, it is technically because it's like a percentage of a percentage. But for your life, for your worldview, for all intents and purposes, that person does not exist.
Right.
There is no getting rich that quickly because for 99% of people, you have to have the 8 years of showing up. Because once you can show that you are stewarding what little you have or whatever amount that you have, then the Lord will bless you with more. You know, the parable of the talents. He gives you a little bit and he says what you can do with this if you are able to multiply or do well with what I've given you, then I will give you more. So the guy that had this many talents that made the most, he got given even more from the guy that squandered his money.
Yeah.
And so you have to show up and you have to do right with what you have now, even though you think,
right,
I need to be here.
Right. It's
no.
It's today that
it's
matters.
today that matters.
Right.
Absolutely.
And there was a couple times where you wanted to quit.
Oh yeah.
I mean you were in the suck right before you became
Embrace the
lieutenant.
suck.
I mean, what person in their life and in their career path hasn't thought when is the jump ship time? You know,
Yeah.
and where am I at? Basically, I need to have a self-reflection moment.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know, you want to talk about people bringing people around you, lifting you up.
Yeah.
That was about the time Danielle, my little sister, and her husband Jason moved to Memphis and moved in with me and my at the time my girlfriend Caroline, but now she's my wife.
Sinner.
Uh-oh, Chris.
We're going to have to bleep that out.
We slept in different rooms.
Good.
So Danny and Jason
In our one-bedroom apartment.
yeah, so Danny and Jason moved down.
He was on the couch.
Danny and Jason moved down before the whole the first promotional process. And they were like, hey, Jess, and Caroline too. Caroline, Danielle, and Jason were like, Jesse, you need to stop your craziness and sit down and kind of do what Andrew Hurst did for me back then. Sit down, put the work in, study for the test, and do it. You know, just do it. If you don't like where you're at, then let's take the step in the direction, the healthy step, and try to get a promotion.
Yeah,
absolutely. And if it doesn't work out, hey, we'll pivot and we'll figure it out from there.
Right.
So they pushed me and they encouraged me and lifted me up and called me up.
Yeah.
You know, and so
And it's the people in your life.
it's the people in my life.
Yeah.
You know, and so that with a little bit of luck, you know,
Sure.
I'm.
And your sister is a much better person than you
She's
are. for the
awesome.
most
Yeah, she's actually a really good person.
Dad.
Yeah.
part. She wanted to be on the podcast, but we told her
She's
no.
too good. You know, she's almost too funny.
She's like really nice. She's the funniest person.
I've
ever.
noticed there's a lot more pictures of her around here than there are of you.
Yeah, I know. So how long were you a lieutenant for? And then they offered a chief's test because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
fine.
So they offered. So you got to be a lieutenant for 3 years in rank, and then you could take the chief's test if they offer it. And they offered it. I got promoted fast enough to make that 3 year requirement.
Yep.
So
By 2 weeks.
By 2 weeks.
Wow.
3 years
So
and 2 weeks.
3 years and
There
2
it
weeks.
is again.
Yeah. So I definitely a little bit of luck. And at what level of abstraction do you say maybe there's the Lord's hands at work here? I don't know. You know, but it certainly felt like that.
Oh yeah. Probably was.
It probably was. You know, for all intents and purposes. Yeah. You know.
I mean, God.
Yeah.
Favor has always been on you. I mean, because I can't even believe you're still alive.
I know. I didn't think 27. I thought 27 was going to be the year.
Yes.
And so, hey, you never know. I got plenty more time.
If the world didn't kill him, I almost killed him a couple times.
Thank God.
So I did really well. I put in some work. I studied. And along the way, I was helping other folks too, like my friends, try to go through the promotional process. And give back a little bit that way.
Yeah.
And so you ranked number 4 on the Chiefs test.
Yeah, I was number 4.
Not bad.
So not too shabby.
So like top 98th percentage?
yeah, so in high school I graduated in the top 98 percentile of my graduating class.
It's really good, right?
Yeah. So out of 340 people, I was 341. 39.
Oh, other way around.
Yeah, I was in the
Whoops.
bottom. They sat us in order of ranking, not alphabetical order. So I was in the very back row. So, and despite
That's so demeaning. Everybody in the back row was just looking at like these idiots over here.
Yeah, we were sitting back there, and I was, with this group of people that weren't actually my friends at the time.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, look at us back together, hanging out.
And so a lot of the things we want to make sure we say is that if you didn't do well, like in the school setting, our family, my family, has never been, except for my one son, Chris. He's like really smart. We don't know what happened. Yeah. It skipped a
He
couple
got out
days.
early.
One kid that made it.
He cashed out early and got out.
He got out.
See ya.
I mean, he's like brilliant. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we don't understand that, but
Right.
sorry, Chris.
Yeah, no. So it's like if you don't make it in the traditional environment of, the box that everybody gets to be put in of, public schooling or whatever the schooling is, if you've been told that you're not going to make it because you didn't do well in a certain subset of things, doesn't mean you're not going to make it
It's
in life.
not true.
That's not
Not
true.
true at all.
Well, you had to be homeschooled because you're.
Well, I mean, I was at public school my whole life, and then I did 2 years of this one high school. I won't say it because, God knows everybody listens to our podcast.
Yes,
and it'll get out.
the millions of people.
Yeah, sure.
Millions.
But I hated the school so much that I was like, I'm going to just become homeschooled and dual enroll in college because screw this.
Yeah.
So I technically graduated early. I really didn't. I took like grammar 1 my senior year just so that I could still technically be in high school and have my tuition be cheaper. But I did homeschooling, got super sad because I was public school. I'm super extroverted, and suddenly I have 3
be
friends.
Around people, yeah.
And I have a bunch of
dad and Toto.
I went from being in public school to being around a bunch of homeschoolers. That sucks.
That's
dude.
different, yeah.
That sucks because they're all terribly awkward.
You can't say that on. What about our homeschoolers?
I tell anybody. I say this to everybody. I do not care. There's some good homeschoolers, like my roommate. But
There are families like the Hearst.
Oh, yeah.
Homeschooled, like all their kids were, and they're. You would talk to them, and they're brilliant. And
Yeah.
they're just and they're really kind,
Yes.
loving people.
Yeah, totally.
Andrew's got 9 kids.
I don't know, but it's
Holy
a lot.
cow.
Yeah, they're a family of children.
Yeah,
They
love
kids.
kids, and so, but so one, you don't have to worry about traditional thinking. I mean, it's
Right.
God can do whatever He wants whenever He wants.
Yeah.
And then, so Jesse and I were talking just even recently. He went through it was a rough couple cases, brought up a past
Yeah. So,
case. And how did you? I mean, okay, so now you're a chief. You're the big bad ass walking around. You walk around with he's got a big white helmet.
yeah, it's obnoxious.
Wow.
The emphasis
Yeah.
that we put on ourselves.
Do you not know how important?
I'm the most important interdepartmental mailman you will ever see today.
And so, but it was a death of some people, and so it brought it, because that's how your mind works. It brought back some bad.
Oh, so yeah, some bad memories and some bad experiences in the past years ago. That you think you get over and you forgot and you put it back.
Right.
Well, you really didn't forget. You buried it way down in the closet.
Stuffed it.
You
Yeah.
stuffed it down there.
Yeah.
And,
Try to forget about
try
it.
to forget about it, and then you have the same scenario pop up, similar scenario, and you're like, man, I remember that one night.
Yep.
I was on this call. I
was the guy.
I was that guy.
Yeah.
Over there having the.
And
experience.
how did you get through that?
So the next few days, it was pretty rough.
You tried to drink it away.
Oh yeah.
As one does.
That's what most
Firemen do.
That's a cultural thing. Police and cops.
And that didn't work.
That don't work. I mean, it might work for a little bit, but this time it didn't. And and I was just having a moment, at my house, and my wife was there, and I was like, just fuming, just starting to bubble up, just that repressed anger, and really the painful experience, and I was like, hey, sweetheart, she's not the most religious person, so this was a big ask.
Yeah.
So I'm highly intoxicated, and I know you're not supposed to be praying when you're highly intoxicated, but hey, you know what? Better than never. You know. So I was like, Caroline, we got to go. We got to pray, and we just got to.
Yeah.
And out loud, I just prayed, and I was just like, God, please, I don't know what the answers are. I don't know where we're going with this, but just please take it.
Yeah.
I kind of don't remember what I said exactly, but
That's how it
for
happens.
various reasons,
Yeah, that's how it happens.
previously discussed.
So you too can be like this
Yeah.
and have a better life.
Yes.
So
Wherever
yes.
you are.
And and the next
Sorry, Pastor Randy.
so the next day, going to work, and it helped,
And released it.
Yeah, released it.
Yes.
From my mind, and I still was remember the story.
You're not going to forget it.
not gonna
I mean,
forget-
you're
Oh,
not
God,
like
no.
your brain. God pulls out a part of your brain.
Right. But you quit carrying it.
Yes.
Carrying it on your shoulders.
Yes.
You go, okay, you know what? God's going to have to carry this burden. And because I'm not physically or emotionally or mentally capable of carrying it.
Yeah.
Just not capable.
Yeah.
So it was really powerful moment in my, I guess, my career, my life
Yeah.
that evening. So
Let the Lord take it.
So I want to say that if you're carrying something, God, and it doesn't matter if you've been a bad Christian.
oh yeah.
All of us at one point.
God, when you invite him into your life, he said, "I will never leave you nor forsake you. I'll be there when you need me." And so, I want to emphasize, God, when you became a Christian, God came into you, and He's there to help you and bring you through to places that you never dreamed possible.
Yeah.
And that you're turning around and you're like, okay, how did this happen? And it's like,
Right.
well, God's favor has been on me. And then that's where it becomes easier to say, as a leader, because we had talked about how do you lead 45 men that
Yeah.
are self-sufficient. Firefighters and cops are like they're a unique breed.
Just leave me alone.
Just
I'll
leave me alone.
handle it.
We'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
I could get dead, but for the most part, I'm not going to. And I'm going to stuff it down, and we'll go and we'll push through this. And so he's got to lead men like that.
Yeah.
And so God will help you to do that things and for whatever purpose He calls you to do. But this is a story of God's favor.
Yeah, absolutely. God's favor, timing, learning. It's all about learning, waiting, be
Making the
patient.
adjustment.
Yeah, just show up every day.
Yeah, and I was watching a YouTube video on a one of the billionaire bro sciences,
Yep.
and I forget his name. It's like Alex Hanzo or something.
Something.
He's jacked. He's got a beard,
course.
and he
course.
wears flannels. And he's very nonchalant with his dress. He had a pretty good talk, and it
Yeah.
said, just it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Just pick something and just stick with it.
Yeah.
You like, and he's talking about getting rich,
Right.
and he's like, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yes.
You could do the car wash, you could do the fire department stuff, you could do the police or the nurse, you could do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Just pick one thing and just do it.
Focus on it.
And focus on it, and just keep doing it for longer and better.
Yeah.
And you'll get there. And so that kind of run stuck true.
Real quick, tell them what your hobby is.
I really enjoy coding. So I picked up a couple years ago.
Enjoy.
Again,
Yeah. Where does this come from? I don't know.
98% of the
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody can do that.
Yeah. So a couple years ago, I was sitting at the firehouse, and I was like, I am not going to sit here for the rest of my career watching
All right.
TV and YouTube.
Yep.
I'm going to do something, learn something.
Yep.
So I just called my brother-in-law, Jason, and I was like, I had this crazy idea. I'm going to learn how to code. He's like, that's awesome.
Cool, man.
Cool, man. Let me know how it goes. Bye. And
Yeah.
and ever since then, I've just been, coding and come up with little software solutions for myself. And
for the fire department,
yeah,
they've actually had him write.
yeah, I'm working on a few projects for them just on the side. It's fun. And it's like, how people play Sudoku?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that, but
Okay.
different.
Yes.
It's stimulating. It's
Right.
I have
right.
to look up what the actual definition of coding is. Is that like just SRDIY stuff like that?
well, so I don't know if you're being funny or you're being serious.
He has no idea what he's talking about. That's what's happening.
Coding is an overarching idea.
Uh-huh.
It could be any programming language, But people think of coding, they think of sitting behind a computer and doing.
Yes.
It could be any
Numbers, letters.
Yeah, which it is, but that's a pretty blanket statement. Like
Right.
I code. Oh, okay, cool. What do you code? And people then say, well, I'm primarily a Python developer.
I was going to ask, are you using Python? There you
Yeah,
go.
Python, HTML. Some people are like, I'm a full stack kind of developer. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, all right.
Whatever, dude.
So in that, I'm like a middleware database kind of back end kind of developer, Python.
So it's like even the kid that wanted nothing to do with high school can
Nothing.
still learn coding.
Yeah.
It's absolutely possible.
Yeah, and I've gotten pretty decent at it.
Nice.
It's fun and
Yeah.
it's good. It's nice to create something and be like, wow, it works.
Yeah, right. I did that.
So, Will, what do you think of my son? Did I develop? This is now I'm taking the credit. When he was in high school, I'm like, that's not my son.
Not my kid.
Not my guy.
Now you're like, he's always been my kid. Day one.
A little tough love.
Yeah. It worked.
It did.
It worked.
Right.
Not bad. Not bad.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks for having.
Thanks, bros.
Hey,
And we're like awesome.
we're the we're the best.
We're simply the best.
We're so cool.
We were talking about maybe getting you a fan to blow on
Your hair
at all
during
times
the
during the
thing.
podcast.
That would be awesome. I was at a concert where there was this guy with really long hair, and the whole concert had a fan on his face, and his hair was going.
That's just it. It's almost like science. It must be that.
It must, yes.
Does gravity work? Yep.
Hey, we'll see you later. Have a great day. We'll see
ya.
you next week.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.